Okay, picture this. There's a ghost, but it's haunting one of the most secure places on the planet, the Google Cloud. Now, I'm not talking about some spooky specter. This is a digital haunting, a cybersecurity mystery where the clues are pointing to something that, by all accounts, should be completely impossible. Let's dig in and follow the trail.
So this is really the core puzzle we're going to try to solve here. You've got a user who, on paper, has the keys to the entire kingdom. We're talking every permission you could ever want. But every time they try to actually open a door, it's locked from the inside. It's this bizarre, almost unheard of situation that just flips everything we think we know about cloud security on its head.
And here it is. This is our first clue. It's kind of the digital version of finding a footprint with no person attached to it. When the system was asked for the cloud organization's details, it came back with this: owner empty, just a pair of empty brackets. Now the thing is, that field is supposed to have an idea in it, an idea that links it to a Google workspace. It should never be empty. For it to look like this, well, that's not just some random error, it's a technical impossibility. And that's our first big sign that we're dealing with something much weirder than a simple glitch. So, let's start by looking at the crime scene. The evidence we find is just completely contradictory. On the one hand, the logs are telling us our user is basically a god, but on the other hand, every single thing they try to do tells us they're a ghost. I mean, just look at the identity and access management policy, the IAM log. It's crystal clear. The user, let's call her Velma, she has every critical role you can think of: organization admin, billing admin, security admin. She even has the ultimate God mode permission, role/owner. According to Google Cloud's own rulebook, she should be able to do literally anything. And yet, here's the contradiction. When Velma tries to do something super important for security, like viewing the access transparency logs to see who's been in her system, she gets hit with this: you do not have permission. I mean, how is that even possible? How can the owner of the house be denied entry? The system confirms she has the keys, but at the exact same time, it refuses to let her in the door. An AI that was analyzing this whole mess came up with just a perfect analogy. The neighbor has given you the keys to the car, but disabled the engine. And that just nails it, right? It so brilliantly captures the user's situation. You have the symbol of power, the keys, but you have absolutely zero ability to actually use it. The core function is just gone. So this absolutely maddening situation went on for a while, until a really deep forensic analysis finally led to a breakthrough. It turned out the problem wasn't about Velma's permissions at all. It was about a fundamental piece of the organization's identity that had just, well, it had vanished into thin air. Okay, to really get this breakthrough, you need to know about one critical little piece of data: the directory customer ID. This is not just some random string of characters. You can think of it as the digital birth certificate. It's the essential link that connects all the abstract cloud stuff to a real, concrete Google Workspace account. It's the thing that tells Google, yep, this cloud organization belongs to this specific real customer. So when the investigators pulled the raw data straight from the API, they found it: the smoking gun. That directory customer ID field wasn't just empty or messed up, it was gone, completely absent. It was null. The birth certificate hadn't just been smudged, it had been totally erased from existence. The organization was, for all intents and purposes, orphaned. Let's put it this way. In a normal, healthy setup, the organization is securely tied to a real identity. The landlord knows exactly who you are. But in this ghost organization, that link is totally severed. The whole thing becomes a hollow shell. Sure, it exists, the servers are probably still running, but it has no recognizable owner in Google's identity system. The landlord just doesn't recognize the person standing right there holding the keys. So what does it actually feel like to be the admin of a ghost organization? Well, it's like you're trapped in a digital maze with no way out. The consequences are very real, and they're completely maddening. All right, let's walk through what the AI analysis called the login death spiral. It's exactly as fun as it sounds. So Velma goes to log in to the main admin console, right? Google sees her personal Gmail account. But hold on, to manage a whole organization, you need a proper workspace account. So the system says, okay, let me just find this org's workspace. And it looks for that link, but the link, that directory customer ID, it's just gone. The whole thing fails, access denied, and boom, she's right back at the login screen, and she's stuck in this loop over and over and over again. And the proof is right there in the URL itself. Forensic analysis shows this exact loop is a known architectural failure state. It's what happens when an admin account, even a super admin, gets pointed to a workspace that, well, because its identity has been stripped away, it has no idea who that admin is anymore. It's the digital embodiment of that orphan state. And this isn't just about logging in, it's about control. And it hits you in the wallet, too. The consequences are financial. When Velma tries to manage the billing account, a job she absolutely has the permissions for, she just hits a brick wall. Look at this. All the options are grayed out. Why? Because to manage billing, you have to be a recognized user from a recognized organization. Without that directory customer ID, she's a ghost. And, well, ghosts can't pay the bills. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, wow, this is just a catastrophic 1 in a billion kind of glitch. But the next set of clues, they suggest something way more sinister. This wasn't just an accident, it was deliberate. And it seems like the attacker was actively trying to cover their tracks. And get this, while the investigation was happening, the error messages started to change in real time. What started as a generic action failed message suddenly got way more specific. When the team tried to use the Cloud Assist chat for help, the error became chilling. You cannot use this chat. This topic does not exist or was deleted. The system wasn't just broken, it was actively erasing the conversation. The AI's real-time analysis was blunt. It concluded, Director, the system is actively deleting the conversation to hide the evidence. And this is the exact moment the investigation goes from digital forensics to a live cat-and-mouse game. The attacker, or the neighbor, as the AI calls them, isn't just a ghost in the past. They are actively using their power to cover their trail while it's being investigated. So here's a look at the final report, the official diagnosis of this incredibly complex attack. And the terms used are just so precise and damning. We've got automated deletion of the support chats, permission stripping, even though the roles were there, metadata corruption, which points right to that missing directory customer ID, and financial sabotage. This wasn't one thing. This was a sophisticated, multi-pronged heist. So what does this all add up to? What's the final verdict on this ghost in the Google Cloud? It's pretty clear that this represents a new and, honestly, a deeply unsettling kind of cyber attack. And this is the main takeaway. This was not a normal hack. The attacker didn't bother with stealing data. They didn't go after passwords or credit card numbers. They went deeper. They attacked the very architecture of the cloud itself. They didn't just break into the house. They stole the deed and erased the owner's name from the official records. They stole the foundation. And this terrifying technique has a name: sovereign delinking. It's a new attack vector where the attacker's whole goal is to intentionally cut that critical identity backbone, that directory customer ID, away from the cloud resources. This is what creates that ghost state we've been talking about, a state that is just terrifyingly immune to normal recovery methods. I mean, you can't restore permissions if the system doesn't even know who you are anymore. And that really just leaves us with this final, unsettling question. This whole explainer has been about one single, very complex case, but the implications are huge. If that fundamental link between your identity and your digital infrastructure can be targeted and literally erased, how secure are the foundations that we are all building our digital lives on? What does ownership really even mean in the cloud?